team Liftoff. First of all, yeah, this is our agenda. The activity that brings the people in the team and the stakeholders together. And there are multiple synonyms to the term liftoff, such as kickoff, inception, and also team restart, meaning that we do the liftoff not only when we start something new, a new team or a new project, but also we do it when we want to re-energize the existing team and provide them with the inspiring purpose, interpersonal alignment, create better personal connections in the team, and a better understanding of the business context and the impact of their work. So here's the illustration that I borrowed from the Diana Larson's and Anthony's book on which is called Liftoff. And I do recommend that everything is described very thoroughly there. So if you look at this handful of principles for designing liftoffs, then we can see what are the important basically building blocks, important parts of launching a new team or starting a team on a project. First of all, talking about a sponsor, executive sponsor joining Liftoff. I would like to emphasize this. That is important in several ways. So first of all, the executive sponsor can provide the team with the business vision and explain why their work matters, and what the organization is trying to achieve with their help. And when the team members are aware about the business vision, then different kinds of, so to say, micro decisions that they will be taking while working on the solution, designing solution, they will support that business vision. Also, something that is important, maybe more to the experienced members of the teams, the presence of executive sponsor ensures that, or make them more confident about the senior management team being committed to the objectives that the technical team receives, because probably many of these experienced team members have experienced the situations when they were working on something and their projects did not end up in production. So the presence of the executive sponsor, of an executive sponsor, and this possibility to ask questions and have a chat with this person raises the confidence of the team members that the efforts that they're undertaking will actually end up in a useful solution that will be put in production and used by the organization. And Miriam, I see that you have a hand raised. Please go ahead.
Yes, the executive sponsor, is that definitely a person from within the company on a higher level, or is it, for example, if you produce a product or software for another company, it needs to be your customer, or is this defined somehow?
Yeah, so this is someone who has the decision-making power and most likely possibly controls the budgets. So in case if you are working for another company, in case you're maybe an agency which is developing software for another company, then the representative of that other company, the customer, would be your executive sponsor. In case if you're building an in-house solution, and then the senior management team from your company would be the right executive sponsor for that team.
Okay, thanks for explaining.
Great. So moving on, including only the activities in Liftoff that have real purpose. I think that's pretty relevant for any Agile ceremonies. We shouldn't engage in rituals for the sake of rituals. So every activity, we will look at the example Liftoff agenda, and every step in this agenda, every activity should have a clear purpose. Then the best Liftoffs create a sense of ownership of the outcomes. Definitely so. And talking about creating ownership, in my opinion, the best way to achieve team ownership is co-creating, creating together. So Liftoff is not a presentation. It is not a presentation. It is not a day of full of presentations. This is something that this is a participatory activity in which all the team members are engaged, and you are creating the vision of the team. You are discussing the team mission. You are discussing the ways of working together, and you are co-creating all these things. That, in my opinion, that ensures the sense of ownership best. So, talking about the actual activities of the Liftoff, Agile chartering is definitely one of the most important parts, and we will talk about Agile chartering in the next slide. Finally, take time to include participants in design decisions. That's very important when you're crafting an agenda for the Liftoff. Again, don't expect it to be simply a day of presentations. Calculate the time for the participants to disagree on things, to discuss things. It is very useful in this case to remember of the diamond of participatory decision making. When you discuss something with a group of people, they have various opinions. So, and divergent thinking comes into play. Then at one point, there is a moment of total confusion, which is called the groan zone, and that is normal, and that takes time. And after some time, when people get on the same page, then it's possible to reduce the amount of topics you are discussing, to reduce the amounts of ideas on how the first version of your solution would look like, and align on something. So don't spare the time in your agenda. Don't expect everything to go smoothly. When things don't go smoothly during the Liftoff, this is a part of the game, and this is very useful when people disagree on things and then discuss them and align together. So Agile chartering. Agile chartering is, so to say, the technocratical part of the Liftoff. So this is an activity that is aimed at discussing and aligning on the things such as what kind of work are we doing? What are the outcomes that we are expecting? So what is the purpose of our team? How we are going to achieve this purpose? What are our developmental goals? So as a team, what do we set? Which KPIs do we set for ourselves? How do we interact with the other teams? How do we interact with the stakeholders? Which simple rules do we agree upon for our collaboration? And so on. So everything that can be put on paper. And it is important to mind that Agile chartering has two steps. And one, and maybe even more, well, not more important, but equally important step is the preparation. Because you don't want to, you're limited in time at the end of the day with your Liftoff activity. So you don't want to start with the team with a blank slate. You need to prepare some structure, and also you need to prepare some drafts, so that the team members could discuss these drafts and build on top of this. And that requires involving some of the leaders, like team leads, for example, that requires talking to the sponsors in advance and aligning on how their presentation will look like, what they're going to share with the team, so that you could offer the team members something to build on. But please mind that whatever you have created before the actual activities of Agile chartering is not carved in stone, but this is something that you will iterate upon and create together with the first working version together with the team members. As well, it is very important to mind that and make sure that everyone in the team understands that whatever you agree about, again, it is not carved in stone. This is something that you can accept as the first working version of your agreements, and you will keep improving it over time. And the team members will be actively contributing and shaping their ways of working, so that that will actually help a lot with the discussions on different aspects of Agile chartering. So now that could be an example agenda for a Liftoff. I'm not adding here the timeframes because that's something that depends on your team and on your situation and on your capacity, how much time you can allocate to a Liftoff. So it's very important then that executive sponsor joins. It is very important that the team members connect on a professional and also on a personal level. You may think of different activities for that outside of the Agile chartering part. So outside of the formal part, you may want to invite people to lunch together, introduce some coffee breaks that allow people to have a chat in between the activities, and of course, talking about the closure. If you have a full day Liftoff, it really helps when you do some after-work activity with the team members, especially this is important now when we mostly are working remotely. So it makes a lot of sense to use these activities when the team members connect in person to do some activities which are not directly related to work, but help the team members to get to know each other as persons. So what else? Relations with the stakeholders and interactions with the other teams, also something important to cover during any Liftoff. So let's move on and let's look into different activities, a few activities that may be useful for different steps of this agenda. So one thing that I would like to share and probably recap, that's the power interest grid. There is a very nice article in the blog of Roman Pichler on this topic. So it is very important for the team members to understand how much investment, how much they should invest in their collaboration with different stakeholders, because that's also the way for you to protect the team and to protect the team by having everyone on the same page, like which stakeholder can request what, and what are the responsibilities of the team members towards different stakeholders. So I will not go into the detail of the power interest grid, but I really suggest to, I will share the links. So I really suggest to take this into consideration when you're planning a Liftoff. Then setting a developmental goal for the team or aligning on your ideal state of collaboration. I usually do it in 2 steps. First of all, we run a force field analysis session with the team members, identifying everyone sharing the drivers and restrainers to their work. And then we discuss where do we want to get. So where do we want to get? What kind of collaboration do we want to have in the team? By developing the drivers that we already have in our work and eliminating restrainers. Aligning on this common vision of the ideal state of our collaboration also helps a lot when designing together the ways of working with the team members. Moving on, talking about the boundaries and interactions with the other teams, with the other team members, I would really recommend to look into team topologies and discuss with the team members in the discuss the collaboration with the other teams in the terms of team topologies, because that helps you to better explain, better reason, and helps you to achieve better understanding from the team members. Like, when do they need to do the heavy lifting while working with the other team members? When do they need to do more of a consulting? And that also helps to protect the team members from taking too much on their plate. So there is also a recording on the Teamleadsky YouTube channel. There was a talk on team topologies. I will share it together with all the other links. And of course, the original source, teamtopologies.com, is the best place to start with. So once you have completed a team liftoff with the team, what would be the next step? What would be the next steps to actually leverage all the achievements of this activity? First of all, keep in mind and put this into practice that everything, all the artifacts, all the documents, all the agreements created during the team liftoff are just the first version, the first working version, and they're created there to inspect and improve together with the team members. So for that, you need to keep track of different drivers and restrainers that you have identified, and make sure that you understand whether you are eliminating the existing restrainers, or the issues persist, and whether you create the environment that fosters the development of the drivers that you need for the successful work of your team. Talking about the developmental goal, the ideal state of the team, again, just like everything, it is not carved in stone, and you need to review it together with the team members when something changes about your collaboration, organizational context, business environment. Of course, you need to review the developmental goal, the ideal state, not as often as you review the existing drivers and restrainers, the current state, so to say. But I will say that it makes sense to do it at least once a quarter, or when there are some significant changes taking place in the company or in the industry. So moving on, yeah, of course, when there are new people joining the company, joining the team, either new stakeholders or new team members, then of course you need to introduce them to the outcomes of team liftoff as a part of onboarding. And also when there are a lot of changes, like a lot of people, a lot of new people are joining, or something changes in the organization, in the business, then this is probably a good time for a new team liftoff. And here are some links on the topic that I will share in all the meetup groups together with the slides for this presentation. So we are now through with the recap. Let's look at the Miro board and see which questions we have there for the discussion.